Hello, can you hear me? Hello, everyone. Good evening, good afternoon, good morning, depending on where you're watching from. If you can see me and if you can hear me, just say hi, 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 hi. Okay, so today we're going to run pretty fast. I know that we have a lot to cover today. So I'm going to run pretty fast and see how far we can go. So I'm going to start sharing my slide and let's have this conversation. Okay. So if you can see me and you can hear me, you can drop a comment. Oh my, I feel so hot this evening. You can drop a comment if you can see me and you can hear me. All right. So today we're going to be having an important conversation, and it's all stemming from the employers and HR hangouts. So if you are the employers and HR hangouts, good to have you here again. We're going to be finalizing the conversations that we started, which all this we should be out of here. So this session is designed to last for 1 hour 30 minutes max, and I'm hoping that we'll be able to go some cover a lot. So if you're here, welcome. Thank you for joining in. Thank you for joining in. So quickly, I'm going to share my slides now, and I want to encourage you to please stay till the end of this session. Don't come in and leave at any point. Please stay to the end of this session. That's the only way you can get the full benefit of all we're going to be learning. So I'm trying to get my slide up. Um,
Somebody touched me.
okay. Um, I don't, I don't know what you're seeing. Can you see my slide? I think I'm not sharing the correct thing. Okay, just a moment, please. Hmm. Okay. Okay. Just a moment. Let me sort this. Okay. So I think we have the right thing up now. So if you can see my screen, you let me know. Okay, so you can see my screen. So what I'll try to do is to make it larger so that you can see it in full. Okay, so I think we'll work with this. We'll work with this. So can you see my screen very well? I need to do a double check with my other phone to be sure that we are on the same page. So if you're joining in, please subscribe to the YouTube channel so you can get notifications, because subsequently we're going to be having a lot happening here, and I'm hoping that you're going to benefit from it. So welcome to this training. Our topic for today is developing growth culture in your business. Now we started this journey from the last employers and HR hangout, where we established that we looked at executive leadership, we looked at having a career growth plan in your organization, but it became very important that we establish that thought by finalizing the truth that you can't even have a growth plan in your business without having a growth culture. I've heard employers say, "Oh, we're trying to have a growth plan, but our team members are not embracing it." It's because there's no growth culture in your business. So the question is, how do I develop a growth culture in my business? So I think this is clear now. I can see that the slides are full. So how will you develop a growth culture? So recently I've been very excited about the concept of culture, because culture is more important or is more powerful than we think it to be. Culture is more powerful than we think it to be, because some of the things that we do that we really can't explain why we do them, even when you come down to Nigeria as a country, it's culture. We don't even know when we get so trapped, with culture, and then we are hoping that, oh, we need more strategies. That's what happens in our country. So let me give you a very clear example. You have a country like ours, and then you hear that, oh, there's a major loan that the country has taken to promote some infrastructural development, maybe in the health sector or educational sector. And then you're hoping that, okay, let's see how this goes. We're hoping to see something come out of it. But now imagine taking a loan. Imagine your business or my business. I go to the bank and then get a 20 million naira loan to help develop my business. And then when we get that loan for the business, the bank then tells us to give them a cut for helping us to get the loan. And then we give them. I now bring it to our board of directors. Our board of directors now say that I should give them a cut, for being a part of the company. We've not done what we are supposed to do. We now take 5 million from there and share to all the board of directors. We now get it into the company. The management team then says, let's get a cut, And by the time we are finished cutting and cutting and cutting and cutting, what we then have left to do the development, maybe just 500,000 naira. Or maybe we don't even have anything. So we've taken a loan to birth development, but corruption has eaten it before it even gets to the purpose of the loan. That's what we see on a larger scale. We deal with our country, And you're wondering what's happening. How can this happen? Culture, even sometimes people who fight some of this corruption has become like a culture, an unconscious culture. Some of us talk about we need to follow due process, but we know that we get into certain offices and certain places, and due process is the last thing on our mind because we want to, time factor, and we need to rush out. So you'll be shocked how powerful culture is. That if you're not intentional about building culture, anything will grow. So let's get into this. So what is culture? What is culture? And as we go ahead, if you have questions, please drop them in the comments. After the session, I'll look into the questions that we have. And then if we can answer them here, we can take them to the group and then talk about it. And also go ahead and subscribe to the channel, please. Culture. So I said here in generic terms, culture is the way a group of people live, think, and behave. If you during social studies in secondary school, we say culture is a way of life. Is a way of life. It's how people live in a place. It's how they think, how they behave. The way they live is a product of how they think. So culture stems from the dominant mindset in a particular place. So I want you, as we talk about this, look at it from the context of your own organization. And culture is so important because most of the things that employers complain about in the organization is more culture based. So you see a company say, oh, we are dealing with lateness in our company. And we start thinking about strategies on how to deal with lateness. So from there, we now start talking about surcharging staff, punishing and all of those things. Not knowing that we are trying to bring up strategies to solve a problem that culture has created. And that if we want to affect the outcome or the behavior of people, we need to go back and re-engineer the culture that we want to see. When you have culture, it's a combination or a mixture of beliefs, value systems, language, attitudes, behaviors, rituals, that happen in a place, things that are customary for a group of people. Now, this is in generic terms. Now, in the context of organizations, culture refers to the values. The values. Now, as you know, I believe I'm talking more with corporate leaders here. The value system. Do you have established values for your business? I'm not talking about nice sounding values that we just say excellence is our value system and all that. I'm talking about values that emanates from the soul of the leader, because every organization ought to reflect the values of the leader. In one of our courses, I think in the Employers and HR Hangout 1.0, we looked at some of these. We talked about the corporate form. And we said that every organization ought to reflect the values of the leader. So if your organization is not reflecting your values, it means that there's a leadership failure. There's nobody to blame. You can't say that you're someone who exhibits the highest level of integrity, and your organization, you have team members who are exhibited, who lack integrity. So you're wondering, I'm a person of integrity. My business, what do you call it? My business, my team members do not have integrity. So it's their problem. It's not their problem. It's not their problem. It's the problem of the leader. There's a leadership failure in that system because there's nobody there to pass on the values that the leader has to the rest of the team members. So I want to bring us to a point. I had a very interesting story yesterday. I paid attention to a conference that is currently ongoing, a virtual conference for fathers, a fatherhood conference. And I joined in because, of course, we're all parents, so it doesn't just boil down to gender, who is father or mother. But I joined in as a parent, and the speaker shared a very interesting story that got me thinking, and it's a story about Mahatma Gandhi. Mahatma Gandhi, the man of peace, and all of that. And in that story, he said Mahatma Gandhi sent his son to take the car to the mechanic to repair. So the guy stayed and stayed. He was, he got for a very long time. So Mahatma Gandhi started to walk out, as he was walking out, going to search for his son. He had already called the mechanic already. So when he was walking, so he now saw the son driving in. And then the son stopped. And I asked the son, where have you been? The son said, oh, I've been at the mechanic shop, and all that. And he said, well, I called the mechanic. And he said, you left since. So the guy was disarmed. And then he now said, okay, that after he left the mechanic shop, that he went, for a party. No, sorry, to see a movie. And I told the father to join him in the car, let them drive back home. And the father said, no, you should not worry, that he wants to walk back home. He wants to walk back home. He was insisting, why do you want to walk back home? Let me drive you back home. I said, no, that he wants to spend his time thinking about what would make his son, how he raised a son that would look at him and lie to him. That is not about the boy. He's asking himself, as the leader in the home, as the father in the home, what did I do? Because values are passed on. What would I have done, or what did I do to raise a son that will look me in the eye and tell me lies? Now, parents who like to, pass the blame, we quickly say, it's not about you. Maybe how dare you lie to me and want to beat up the child? Because that's what we call discipline in our times. You beat up the child and say, how dare you lie to me? How dare you? You're a liar. But I love the approach Mahatma Gandhi took. He said, no, this calls for a reflection, to look back at my life and wonder, what did I get wrong in this process to raise a young boy that will look me in the eyes and tell me lies? So in that same way, when there is no transference of value system, that's why it's very important. Leaders are culture shapers. When there's no transference of value system, when what you see in your organization is not reflective of who you are, it only tells you that there is a failure in leadership. It's not about who to blame. It's not about sacking people. Because when you sack people and new people join the system, they will get swallowed up by the dominant values expressed in that place. So you hear employers say, he was coming early. When I hired him, the first 3 weeks, he looked all miraculous. He was the only one coming early. But in the 4th week, he joined others and started coming late. He has been swallowed up by the culture. So we say culture refers to the values, the beliefs, and behaviors that determine how a company's employees and management interact, perform, and handle business transactions. So even culture starts from within and impacts on what happens externally. Culture starts from within and impacts on what happens externally. So that's very key. So I said here that leaders are culture shapers. Leaders are culture shapers. I want you to tell yourself, I'm a culture shaper. If you can drop in a comment, say, I'm a culture shaper. You cannot outsource the process of culture reengineering. Because what we have most times, you see leaders who say, oh, we're having a cultural problem. I will just bring in a consultant who will help us repair the culture and all that. Culture is not formed in one day. Culture is not a day affair. It's not even a 2 months affair. So even if you bring in consultants to kickstart the process of reshaping culture, what happens subsequently is that leaders must uphold that culture for it to thrive. If not, after 3 months, you're back to square one because leaders must sustain culture. So if you're a leader who is not if you're a leader who is not present consistently in your business, you need to raise leaders in your business who will uphold the culture when you're not there. So there's no excuse why culture should not be intentionally, created. Whether you are there or you're not there, you must pass on that culture to someone who will replicate across board. So how do you shape culture? We use the tool of influence to shape culture. So let's run. So I want to tell you a very interesting story of 5 monkeys. A very interesting story of 5 monkeys. We said this story in the last in the Implants HR Hangout 1.0, but I'm going to say it again for the benefit of all. So I hope you can see my screen. So you see here it says a group of scientists placed 5 monkeys in a room, and in the middle, a ladder with bananas on top. So you can see the picture, you can see the 5 monkeys, and you can see the banana on top the ladder. So every time a monkey went up the ladder, the scientists soaked the rest of the monkeys with cold water. So are you seeing what is happening? Every time one monkey went up the ladder to go tamper with the banana, the scientists soaked up the remaining 4 with cold water. So after a while, every time a monkey went up the ladder, the others beat up the one on the ladder. So because they did not want to get punished, they didn't want to be soaked because of one person's action, if any monkey dares to climb the ladder, others will gang up and beat up that one monkey. So let's see. So after some time, no monkey dared to go up the ladder regardless of the temptation. So because if you try to go up, every other person pounces, on you. All of the monkeys say, we're not going up the ladder anymore, and then you just come and then you see monkeys. Of course, the relationship monkeys have with banana. And you're wondering what is making all of these monkeys have this unusual self-control. Is because something has been forming. Now you've seen that culture is being formed by what is as in what you reinforce positively or negatively, you are reinforced. So every action a leader takes is reinforcing something. So what you want to be cautious of is, what am I reinforcing through the actions I am taking? So somebody does something terrible in the organization, maybe steals the company's money, and then because it's your relative, you just rebuke gently and you just say, don't do it again, or don't do it again. What you're reinforcing is that, oh, stealing in this company is no big deal. It's no big deal. So let's go ahead in our story. So the scientists then decided to substitute one of the monkeys. So they removed one of the old monkeys and put in a new monkey. The first thing this new monkey did was to go up the ladder. Remember that this new monkey has no idea, of course you're seeing banana, what to eat the banana, So this new monkey, the first thing he did was, let me go get banana. Immediately he did that, the other monkeys beat him up. After several beatings, the new member learned not to climb the ladder, even though he never knew why. He didn't know why he shouldn't climb the ladder, but then he can't dare climb the ladder. So he joined them. So, and the second monkey was substituted, and the same occurred. So they brought a second monkey, and then 3 of the old ones plus one of the other new one. And if that second new monkey tried to climb, they'll beat. So the first monkey participated in the beating of the second monkey. Remember that this first monkey don't even know why they are beating in the first place. But he has gotten used to the way of doing things that are in this place. We don't climb this ladder. On no account should you go and eat that banana on the ladder. So the second monkey participated in the beating of the first monkey, participated in even beating the second monkey without knowing why he's even beating. A third monkey was changed. The same thing was repeated. The beating was repeated. The fourth was substituted, and the beating was repeated. And finally, the fifth monkey was replaced. So now we have five monkeys that don't even know why they shouldn't climb the ladder, but they dare not. The people who knew why they should climb the ladder have been replaced in the system. Are you seeing that culture is passed on? Culture is passed on. All you need is one person who understands the old culture to maintain it in the new system. Oh, else you may be retaining what may kill your business. So now we have five new monkeys. Nobody is climbing the ladder. Now, this is the interesting part. What was left was a group of five monkeys that, even though never received the cold water, continue to beat up any monkey who attempted to climb the ladder. They didn't even receive the cold water bath that other old monkeys used to receive when they climb up that ladder. But these ones, they don't even know. They don't even know why. But nobody dared to climb up, and they'll beat you if you dare. Now, if it was possible to ask the monkeys why they would beat up all those who attempted to go up the ladder, I bet you the answer would be, I don't know. That's how things are done around here. I don't even know why. I don't know. In this place, they come late. I don't know. In this place, they don't treat customers well. I don't know. In this place, this is what happens. So sometimes you see people act out culture without. Culture is so powerful that you do things without even knowing why you're doing them. We don't question culture. I know a popular story that was told by a preacher some time ago. And he said that a man got married, and there's this particular thing they cook. I can't remember what it was, but it's long. So she would always cut it to cook it, as in cut it to make it in small chunks to cook it. But that's not how it's supposed to be done. Oh. So the man kept asking the wife, why do you cook this thing like this? Why do you cut it? He said that's how her grandmother used to cook it. So they traveled home and they asked the grandmother, why do you cut this thing to cook it? Mom was like, because her pot was very small. It couldn't contain the full length. So she had to cut it in small bits to cook it. Now, this other lady has carried it that this is how you cook this thing without even knowing why the mother was doing that, but it has been replicated. That's how powerful culture is. Now she has a bigger pot, but she still has to cut it to get in because she never even knew why it was supposed to be cut in the first place. That is how culture happens. So I want you, as those major things that you've been complaining about your staff, things happening in your business, even culture affects profitability of business. I'm writing a book, The Culture Strategy, and it has made me to think a lot about the power of culture. Please get that book when it comes out. You can even pre-order it. At the end of the webinar, you can see details on how to get pre-order it, of course, at a minimal discount, so that you can have So I think we had a disconnection, but I can't tell from where that happened. I can't even see any chat. So if there's any thing, maybe I should turn this off and regulate from here. Okay, so you can see me and hear me, right? Let me see. If you can see me and you can hear me, please drop a comment so that I'll know that you can see me and hear me. I'm trying to be sure that we're all connected before I go ahead so that I don't end up presenting to myself. If you can see me and hear me, please drop in the comments so that I'm sure that you can see me and hear me. Check from here. So can you see me? Can you hear me? Drop a comment, please. If you can see me and hear me, please drop in the comments so that I'm sure that you can see. Okay, so we'll go ahead. Okay, so we'll go ahead and then take this conversation further. Okay, so let's go ahead. Okay, so this was a slide that we had on before I noticed that the network was down. Please, can you join with your phone? Let me see. I want to be sure. Okay, so let's go ahead. I'm so sorry about that. Okay, so I said here that you cannot use strategy to solve a cultural problem. When you're having a cultural problem, you don't use strategy. If you have listened to the very popular Channels TV presenter, Oseni Rufai, you hear him say that culture will always eat strategy as breakfast. Because sometimes when leaders get into some of the cultural issues that they're dealing with, okay, when leaders get into some of the cultural issues that they are dealing with, they quickly think that that what they need is another strategy. So I've seen an employer who keeps bringing up big, and of course, very intelligent strategies on how to deal with certain things. Oh, if you can do this, this will happen. I said, no, you don't use strategy to solve a cultural problem. Culture will always eat strategy as breakfast. Culture will always eat strategy as breakfast. What that means is that strategy cannot correct culture, but culture makes strategy to become potent or powerful. So the reason why some of those your big plans and strategies are not working could be that you have a cultural problem. And that's why we are doing this. Now, the purpose of this particular training is not to talk to us about all the rudiments of culture. Yeah. But we're looking at how to develop a growth culture in your business. I don't know if my network is still good. Please let me use the phone and try this. Let me just use a different device to be sure that you can hear me. Okay. All right. So I said, what then is a growth culture? A growth culture is an organizational environment that encourages experimentation, learning, and continuous improvement, fostering a mindset of growth and development. I'll take it again. You can screenshot this. So those of you who attended the Employers and HR Hangout, of course, this slide has been forwarded to you already. So you already have it in your emails and you can refer to it. So a growth culture, when you say growth culture, is a culture that promotes growth. There are certain businesses that you get into, and it becomes very obvious to you that there is no growth culture there. It becomes very obvious, that people there think in a certain way that inhibits growth, or that makes it difficult for growth to happen. So when you say what a growth culture is an environment. Culture is about environment. It's about environment that encourages experimentation. So if you have a business where people are not allowed to fail or make mistakes, it means you don't have a growth culture. Every business idea is an experiment. If I want to run an advert, like I want to run a paid advert, you're experimenting to see what would work and what would not work. So even when you get on on Facebook advert platform, they tell you want to do test ad, like you want to do test A and B and see which one performs better, to know what you're going to push forward eventually. So a growth culture is that environment that encourages experimentation. It encourages learning. So if in your company you don't create platforms for learning, what that means is that you don't have a growth culture. You don't do staff training. Year in, year out is eternally the same. Nothing changes. No intervention. You're not bringing anybody to train your team. You're not even putting some internal systems to train your team. What that means is that you don't have a growth culture. The next thing is continuous improvement. If you don't have a system in your business that encourages people to improve, you don't measure performance of your team, there are no performance management, there are no KPIs to measure by. If you don't measure all of these things, it means that you're not encouraging a growth culture in your business, because there's no yardstick to help people know if they are growing in your business or they are not. In your business, because there's no yardstick. And he also says it fosters a mindset of growth and development. When there's a growth culture, there's a mindset of growth and development. So now I said here that growth strategies only thrive where there is a growth culture. Remember that during the Employers and HR Hangout, we talked about creating, a career growth plan, career growth strategy. Those strategies only thrive where there is a growth culture. If you try to implement growth strategies where there's no growth culture, it will only look like you're hitting the rocks. No results, no impact. The leader is frustrated and wondering what the problem is. So I said that culture must support strategy. See, your primary work as a leader, as a corporate executive, is to provide leadership. Is to provide leadership, to inspire people, to influence people, so that they start to act in a certain way. When you influence people to act in a certain way, then you are a leader. So if you want to push certain kind of You know, I think the easiest thing to do is to think up ideas. It's not so easy to get ideas, like think up ideas. But I think sometimes you can even stay and ideas keep dropping in your mind. I have a partner who thinks about ideas 247. That sometimes if you look at my chat with my husband, what you see is there's no business idea in this world. There's nothing, whether it's barber shop, or whether it's construction company, or whether it's real estate business, or whether it's mechanic workshop. There's no kind of business plan I don't have inside my phone or inside my chat. Whether it's how to build a dynasty as a family, there's nothing. So there are people who are quick to get ideas, strategies on how to do certain things. But the real deal is culture. Once culture is impacted, once there's no strong corporate culture, what happens is that it frustrates strategy. So leaders start feeling like failures. They start feeling like nothing is working. And some people will even go the extra mile to spiritualize it and say that there's a spiritual problem in this business when culture is the problem. So culture must support strategy. As we are going through this training, please think through your team, think through the things that have been happening in your business, even make a list of those challenges that you've been having. Marketing can be solved through culture. Oh, we're having poor profitability. It can be solved through culture. Any problem that you don't solve using the culture strategy may have some immediate impact, but it may not be, sustainable. So if you want sustainable strategies on how to solve certain problems in your business, it will require that you go back to a re-engineering process of culture to begin to align to how certain things must happen. I don't know if you're getting value because this is the real work of leadership. This is the real work. This is the real work, of leadership. The easiest thing to do is to register a business. It costs how much? If it's a limited company, maybe 85,000 like we do in our company, or if it's a business name, it's 35,000. It's the easiest thing to do. Anybody can get a name. I've seen a lot of businesses with fine names that failed. So don't embrace name. Don't say my business name is if I see some business owners focus on just having a beautiful name. If you have a beautiful name with a bad culture, it's frustration. So how do I build a growth culture in my business, in my organization? So let's look at it quickly. So if you look at this chart that I have here, you see growth plan or strategy, growth culture, and you see growth mindset. At the base is growth mindset. In my heart of hearts, we're working on something. We're working on having our Tribe Leaders Academy where all of these resources will be made available. You can refer to certain training. We have a large library of trainings that you can refer to, to get some of these old trainings. But people who have had the first hangout, the second hangout, would easily relate because in the first hangout, we dealt a whole lot with growth mindset. Dominantly, there are two, on a broad scale, there are two dominant mindset people express, which is a growth mindset and a fixed mindset. Your hiring process must have a way to evaluate the mindset of the person you are hiring. Your hiring process must have a way to evaluate, is it a growth mindset or is it a fixed mindset that this person has? If you're not able to evaluate the dominant mindset of your team and you bring in people with fixed mindsets into a growth culture, or you bring people with a fixed mindset and try to force them into a growth culture, they will feel frustrated. So when tell people, when we talk about, make a enlarge certain roles so that people can feel more inspired for their job. When you enlarge the role of someone with a fixed mindset, they will feel like you're suffering them. They will complain, don't to kill me in this company. You're wondering, but they say we should do growth culture or growth strategy. They actually don't want to kill them. But people with a growth mindset will appreciate learning and development. So at the growth mindset level, you want to be sure that you have team members who think in a certain way. You don't want to be the only person with the correct sense in your business. It's frustrating when a leader feels that they are alone in their business. It's frustrating when they feel like I'm the only one who has sense. In fact, I think it was Steve Jobs that made a statement and says he hires people who are smarter than himself. He says it is foolishness to hire a smart person and tell them what to do. You hire smart people so they can tell you what to do, because you're hiring them based on their level of expertise. So imagine you trying to hire an accountant in your business because you don't have accounting skill, and the accountant comes in and asks you, how should I do the accounting? You know how frustrating that can be. You're wondering, like, I don't understand. If I could do the accounting, would I have hired you? Now that I cannot do it, I'm hiring you, and you said I should tell you how to do your accounting. Don't, as in, you're supposed to be maybe an expert or have certain level of education concerning some of these things. So I didn't study accounting. Why should I? You don't want to be the only person who has sense in your business or have the right mindset. Because if you're the only person who has growth mindset in your business, you'll be the only person bearing the burden of the vision of your business. Your team members will be there with their hands, but their mind can't think. So they'll become errand people. So you send them on errand, go and buy me donuts, go and buy me eventually all those things. Buy, because you don't see their need. I've been there. My first hiring decision, my first ever hiring decision I ever made when we started in Chat Solutions Limited was a church member, because I felt, oh, this person, I can negotiate certain terms with this person, I can train this person and all that. And I brought this person in, and it was obvious that I had to do everything in the business. Before you knew it, my administrative staff became a babysitter. In fact, it was even helping me to go to markets. Because when I think about, I'm the one that think about everything. I'm the one that write all the letters. I'll be the one that I'll even to go and market it and all that. I said, who just help me carry my baby and help me go to market? Let me know that you are a domestic staff. And that's how some of our businesses are. We have people who don't even know what they're supposed to do. So mindset is very important. When people have the right mindset, then from their mindset, you can create a thriving growth culture. And from there, you can also, and then growth plans and strategies can excel in your system. But there has to be a growth mindset that supports a growth culture, and a growth culture that supports a growth strategy. So that's a quick ladder to explain that. So how do I develop a team with growth mindset? I'm going to share very practical things that you can start doing, because I'm a very practical person. In fact, I'm very pragmatic. I'm not someone who likes to speak all the big English and then leave you hanging with what do I do, what I know, So how do I create an environment to promote growth mindset in my business? First thing I wrote, I said, create an environment of continuous learning. Create an environment of continuous learning. So one thing we do in my company at InCharge Solutions Limited, one thing we do is that every week we have what we call weekly presentation. So a staff is charged, because on Monday, we'll call it a Monday, big Mondays. For you, may not be a Monday, it could be a weekend. It can based on the kind of schedule of your company system. But then every staff is expected to do, every week, a staff does a presentation on something that can help boost the team. Whether it could be managing stress, they decide on their topic and come and train us on it. And after training us, we accept the training, and then we also criticize what they have done. What are we doing? A person who does not appreciate growth will run away. You know why? Culture is so powerful that if you throw in a person who doesn't fit into the culture, it's like a river. It vomits the person. So when you have certain growth system in your business, people who are not growth oriented will be frustrated and leave. That's the plan. Let the culture be so strong that people who don't fit in are vomited by the culture. We don't even need to sack you. You're going to resign. Every time, training. Every time training. As in, is it school? I remember one company we hired for. We hired a cleaner, got the educational level that they required, and we're doing intensive training for the first 2 weeks of their employment. And that staff said, I don't even know if it's school I'm not coming to, or if it's job that I got. Because we're stretching their mental capacity. So create an environment of continuous learning. Don't even wait until you bring one big consultant. As much as I would love to come and train your staff, train your team, train your management team, but you don't even need to wait to bring one big consultant. You should have internal systems that promote growth. So even if we're doing quarterly trainings, we'll bring an external consultant, but on a weekly basis, we can have internal systems to keep our staff growing. They will do and when I say presentation, it's not just word of mouth and you carry jotter and come and start reading. No, you are doing a full PowerPoint presentation. We are watching your presentation. We are watching the arrangement of your words. See, I'm very good with slides. I do my slides myself. I don't even outsource my slides to my team member. When I have trainings, I personally want to pour my heart into those trainings. So it's not something I tell somebody, help me do my slides. So I do my slides myself. And at best, I can even tell a team member to help me put the animations and all of those things afterwards. But the write-up, the thinking through, the programming, this, it is me. Those are things that are core to me. I don't outsource them. So when it comes to creating those presentation, we look at their presentation, we look at and say, this presentation has very poor contrast. We can't even read the write-up. We correct every single thing. Why? Because we want you to become a certain kind of person. Invest in staff training and development. Have programs on how to enhance your staff, whether in their mental development, in their skill development, attitude development, knowledge development. Have systems on how we're going. Now, most times I see only businesses, the kind of trainings they do are trainings on sales and marketing, because we feel that all we are here for is the money. So any training that is not helping us to increase our profit instantly is not worth it. That's what we think. But that is not what it should be. We should invest in staff training and development programs that they are growing in their job. They will tell you that when I joined this work, see where I was, but now see where I'm getting to. Because as well as staff should invest in their personal development, there is corporate development. So you should have a program on how your team members are growing. When you're investing in that, you're developing a growth mindset and a growth culture in your team. The next thing is set challenging goals and targets. Not just smart goals, but smarter goals. Set challenging goals and targets. Those goals and don't just go and set goals that, like someone who comes and says, this month, we're making 15 billion naira. You don't have any backdrop. You don't even have any system. You don't even have any strategy on how to achieve it. You just come with big plans those big plans that, when you say set challenging goals, we don't say go and set goals that don't have basis, because they end up frustrating the team and demoralizing them instead of inspiring them. Because that's asking themselves, where do we want to get this 15 billion from without strategy? So, for example, what we did, we are so detailed in our processes, in what we do in our company, that every department almost runs like a business of its own. So this is what I mean. Part of the services we offer, we have a service, we have the business incorporation services, where we handle everything about CAC, from registration to post incorporation. I want to change my directors. I want to increase our shareholding. I want to go from business name to limited. This is called pre-incorporation and post-incorporation services. So we call that department a business unit. We have our strategy development department that handles business plan writing, feasibility studies, marketing plan, all those things about strategy development and what will happen in the business, corporate profiling and all that. So we have that as a business unit. We have our human resource services, where we do recruitment, training, and all of that, staff auditing. It's a business unit. So we have an annual financial goal for the year. We didn't just say, okay, this is our goal for the year. We want to make this amount, and then say this department take this one take this. No, we broke it down to the products. So we tell this business unit leader, if you're able to register 25 business names, for example, 12 limited companies and 6 NGOs every week, that means in a month, this is what we expect from this department. So we did not just give them number targets. We broke down the products to reflect what we want from each of them. So they know how to measure their performance. They know that we're not meeting target. They know that we are below. We went to the HRO. If we can have this number of recruitments monthly, if we can have this number of trainings and all of that, then we're hitting our target. So now they start to narrow down their strategies based on the numbers that they have received and broken down into specific products. So when you're setting challenging goals, imagine we gave them numbers without breaking down to what their minds could go around. It would look like, sir, it's like you just have a big baseless dream. This your dream is too big. How does it affect, and all that. So you have to learn to set challenging goals and targets, but these must be informed goals and targets so that you don't just get over ambitious and just say, I think we can make $50 billion this month. On what basis? So that's how detailed, and that's why in our company we have what we call year-end business plan, where we start to look at your year's performance and your next year's, and then look at the new year and start planning and breaking down. We do all of these things for businesses. We can take your products and break them down so that you can see how that goal can be realized. So that when you're communicating with your team members, you have specifics you're talking about. You're not talking broad. You're not talking things that are intimidating people. The next idea here says, make provisions for your team to experiment ideas. Call for ideas. Get them involved in strategic thinking process, in strategy sessions. What do we do? This is the big frog we have in our business right now. We need to eat up this frog. What do we do? How do we let them experiment with ideas? Every idea you put forth, even this business you're running, is an experiment. It's an experiment. That's why people start and close. So people even start some businesses, start with some products. I heard that LG started as a cream, as a body lotion or whatever. When they said that their first products were body lotions and all that. But now we don't know LG for anything body. All we know is that they're into the electronics. I heard that I've gotten other ones that started, and then you're like, this is what we're doing. Some of them started as fashion businesses and all of that. But right now, that is not what they're doing. So they experimented with certain ideas, and then they started pushing the ones that were working. So when you're dealing with your team, allow them to think. Allow them to think. Try out. Don't. And some people, so in some businesses, you kill the growth culture when you continuously destroy what they are thinking. Before they even give an idea, say, it will not work, it will not work. Or they feel like they keep giving you ideas and you never take any one. It's only your ideas that you implement. You never pay attention to their ideas. Gradually, they stop sharing ideas because they know that it will never see the light of day. Why? In fact, I have a staff who say, why should I waste my mind and be thinking of ideas when my boss will never accept any of those ideas? So if they start feeling like on a norm, it's only the CEO's ideas that thrive in this place, they will stop giving ideas. So the next one says, redefine failure by allowing your team to fail. Allowing your team to fail. Failure is a learning process. Failure is part of learning. Certain things may not work out, doesn't mean that if a person fails or an idea they brought forth failed, you not say, I beg you, we cannot take your idea. The last one you brought, you see the problem you put us into. But allow people to fail. And of course, failure becomes a learning process when we draw out the lesson from every failure. The next thing says, create opportunity for cross-departmental training and collaboration to allow your team acquire new skills. Sometimes you allow departments to train each other so that they can understand what's happening, just to expand how they're thinking, at least have an idea. You should not have departments that are divorced from each other, where no one has an idea of what the other one is performing. But rather, they should understand and even have an idea of what every department does and have certain knowledge of the skills that is required to thrive in those departments. I said, get them involved in strategic thinking process and provide periodic performance feedback to aid more growth. So you can't even measure performance if there are no KPIs, if you don't have key performance indicators that tells you that that person is excelling in their role. So I'm trying for us to hit time. So I said here, building a strong growth culture is more of a daily affair. A strong growth culture is not a monthly affair. It's not a yearly affair. Culture is a daily affair. Culture is a daily affair. So the questions that we should be asking ourselves as leaders, what can we do every day to reinforce the kind of culture that we want to see? So your vision is not to be shared in quarterly staff retreats. Once in 3 months, you have a staff retreat. That's the only time they hear. Sometimes some people even hear the vision of the company once a year. Beginning of the year, we share the vision, and then that's where it ends. No, culture is more of a daily affair. So I put here some culture engaging strategies that can be implemented on a daily basis, a weekly basis, or monthly basis. So under the daily culture, we said these are daily activities to engage team members to become one with the corporate vision, mission, and core values. Example is the corporate affirmation. I talked about this at the hangout. And if you have my book, Small Thing Big Results. If you have this book, if you've not gotten it, I can share the link. You can get it on Seller, you can get it on Amazon, you can get it hard copy in certain locations like Lagos, Abuja, Port Harcourt, Enugu, Imo State is in some locations, and it can be way built to you as well. In one of the, I think in the last chapter of this, where we talked about strategies for small team big result, we talked about daily corporate affirmation, and we did not just talk about it there. We gave a sample of a template that you can use for your daily corporate affirmation. If you don't know where to start from, how to craft it, there is a detailed sample in this book that can help you with that. So you can get it. You can also send a message or drop in a chat if you need it, and we'll find a way to get that across to you. Then on a weekly basis, and this daily corporate affirmation for us is a key activity. It's impossible for work to start any day without us affirming who we are. So I even have the affirmation in my head. We approach this beautiful day with thanksgiving because we know that in Charge Solutions Limited is a huge success. We are attaining global relevance as we commit daily to building a value-driven society. We're a household name in Nigeria, in West Africa, and across the globe. We are changing the way people see and do business locally and internationally. Indeed, we are re-engineering the order of doing business in this generation and beyond. We are consistently attracting our ideal clients. Our income is rapidly increasing. Our impact and influence is rapidly increasing. We have clarity on what to do at every point in time. We operate by divine supernatural wisdom and blah, 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 and all of that. So I can tell you, so you can see that our affirmation is ingrained. Also, most of our team members, especially those who have been with us for more than a year, for about 6 months up to a year, can say our affirmations without even looking at a book. Part of our affirmation is our financial target for the year. We say it 7 times every morning. So you can imagine we'll say, this is what we are getting this year. And everybody keeps saying it every day. Do you think they're going to lose sight of where we're headed? Now, do you see that? So it's a daily thing. And after we finish our corporate affirmation, we take our personal affirmation. We speak to ourselves and talk to ourselves and say certain words to ourselves. And then we get into work for the day. So this, as simple as it sounds, it is the small things that make big differences. It's not the big things that make big difference. Sometimes big things don't even make any difference, or their impact may be small, but small things make big differences. Big difference. So that for us is a key thing. And leaders must uphold whatever system that they create. So if you know that our opening time, so for our opening time is 9 o'clock, I know that from 9 to 9:15, a lot of opening procedures happen, setting up for workstations for the day, doing our corporate affirmation, updating our daily to-do list. We have a daily to-do system, that track our staff tasks, so I can stay at home, work from anywhere, and track what they are working on through their daily to-do list on our shared storage platform. So that's that. Then on a weekly basis, I said these are weekly activities to engage team members to become one with the organizational vision, mission, and core values. So example is the vision casting. So every week we have one of our team members cast the vision of the business to every other team member extensively. They share the vision, they share the mission, they talk about the values. They're not just reciting it, they're explaining it to us and its implication. So what that helps us to do is also to evaluate the understanding of our members as it has to do with our corporate, vision. So we have vision communication that happens weekly. We have, and the reason why we're not the ones that, as founding partners who cast it every other week is because we don't want to be the only ones to bear the burden of the vision. We want them to think, to bear that same burden. People cannot bear a burden of what they don't understand. They need to understand where you're headed to know how to support you in bearing the burden of the vision. We also have book reviews. So every month we have a book we are reading together, and on the Monday, the first 2 hours is like our big Monday activity. We engage in a lot of developmental activities. That's how we have structured our own time. So based on how your business works or how things happen, you can see what to do to have some of those things in your business. We also have training, presentation. I've talked about this. A team member does a presentation weekly. We have evaluation that happens where we evaluate our results for the week. That happens on Fridays or most times and all that. So these are some of the things that we do to promote that culture of growth. So on a monthly basis, these are monthly activities to engage team members still to achieve the same purpose. What do? We have joint strategy sessions. We have performance evaluation. We want our team members to be growth minded. So when we're evaluating your performance, you can tell yourself, am I growing or am I not growing? You don't start judging yourself. The time we had to lay off his staff, and of course he knew he would be laid off because he had seen that he was consistently performing below expectation. But how are we going to be able to determine who to lay off if we don't have systems on how to measure the performance of our team? So every month our team members make a presentation of their department, tell us everything that happened as against the goals that have been set. They tell us what their departments, their what do you call it, their financials for the month as against what was expected of them, and what they are going to do in the next month to build up some of the things that may have made them not to meet up with those expectations. So these are some of the things you can implement. So yeah, so that brings us to the end of our presentation this evening before I go into other things. So if you have any quick question, you can drop in the comments. And while we are doing that, I want to quickly talk to us about our Thrive conference coming up soon. So if you have any questions, please quickly you can drop them. This is 9:02, so we have barely 20 minutes to spend together. So I don't know, did you get anything from this session? I want to be sure that it was worthwhile for you. Saving your time to come here this evening was something that was worthwhile for you. So if you got any value from this session, you can go ahead and let me know in the comments and drop those words. Don't just be the serious CEO who is not saying anything. Drop those words so I know that I'm not alone here. And while I'm waiting for that or any question, the questions can also be asked on the group. Yeah, the questions can be asked on the group as well. So I want to quickly take us through this. We have our tribe. Of course, this is put together by Tribe Leadership Consult. And please go ahead and subscribe to the page if you have not done so, because we're going to have a lot of webinars coming up in the coming week. Sorry. So this is Tribe Leadership Consult. And last year we launched officially, yes, through the Thrive 2023 conference. And this year we are having our Thrive Business Leadership and Business Conference 2024 with the theme Scale. A lot of business owners are thinking about how to scale what they're doing, how to promote what they're doing. It's time for us to scale. Now, this conference is going to be happening on the 5th of October in the city of Owerri, Imo State. We're going to be looking at different areas where we want our leaders to scale, and that also affected the kind of speakers that we are bringing. So we have Tobore Olumoye, who will talk about financial management and investment strategies for businesses, both on a personal level and on a corporate level. Some businesses have very poor financial management systems. All of us need to learn. So I'm not even telling you that, we are getting our own finances perfect. No, we all need to learn, and that's why we are bringing in speakers who will teach us. And Tobore has over 20 years experience working in the financial service sector. So if you're wondering as a business, how do I increase my finances? How do I invest? Because some of us, all we do is income and expense, no investment, income and expense. So you're looking at how do I, build a business, that I can have effective financial management strategies and investment strategies for my fund, because every part of your fund, some part of it should go into investment. But sometimes we don't even know what to invest in. And that's why we start investing in schemes that are not sustainable. And then before you know, our business money that we work so hard to get, we lose them. So we're all going to learn. I'm personally interested in this. She's a personal finance coach and can help us with that. She's coming all the way from Port Harcourt, Rivers State, to be with us. The second person is Chinonso Bogu, who is the CEO of Sabi Holdings. If you know Sabi Writers in Lagos, he's a CEO, and he's going to be coming to teach us on how to scale through leadership systems in his business, in your business. So even as I'm talking to you right now, they have their management, their leadership retreats going on in Lagos this weekend, for all their leaders, because they have a robust system that creates leaders within their system. So this is something that I personally also want to learn. So how do I, so the Tobora is talking about how do I scale my business through effective financial management and investment strategies. Chinonso is telling us, how do I scale my business through leadership systems? How do I make leaders in my business? Because the success of a leader is that he has a successor. So how do I make leaders in my business? How can I not be the only one, that is leading in my business? And of course, you have myself, Joyce, and I'll be talking to us on how do I scale through culture? How do I scale? How can you scale your business through creating the right culture? And then we have Mr. Kenneth, my business partner as well, who is talking to us about how to scale through business evolution. Some of us need to evolve our businesses. We need to evolve our businesses, but we don't even know how to do it or how to go about it. How do I scale through business evolution? It's going to be a powerful time together. Like I said, I'm more impact driven than making impressions. And when you register for this event, of course, it covers certificate of participation, conference resources and training materials, lunch, meal, and snacks, a complimentary copy of my new book, The Culture Strategy, one post-event exclusive group coaching session. We are going to bring in some experts to also talk to us. That's a virtual session. And then we have a lifetime access to the Tribe Leaders community. This is a full community, not even what we have now. To participate in that event is 135,000 naira, but people registering between 1st to 31st of July would register at 110,000. But now I'm giving a special discount. I'm giving a special discount to people who are ready to make a commitment towards participation of just 20,000. So I'm doing a down payment of 20,000 naira to say I'm part of this. Those persons are going to pay 100,000. So you're getting 35%, 35,000 naira off your registration, and you're paying 100,000, but then you can make a commitment fee of 20,000 that says I want to attend. I don't have all the funds right now, but I can make a commitment of 100,000 to be a part of that program. Once you secure your slot between now and tomorrow, it's just for those who are doing very early registrations. Aside that, every other person is still in the early bird. We start with 110, and then maybe make a 1 or 2 time payment, and then those who exceed July will make 135. So if you want to be part of this conversation, it's an exclusive gathering of corporate leaders. We want to have 200 corporate leaders in that location learning how to scale. What we are up about is, how can I do business differently? There are too many ways. We have more hustlers than we have legacy builders. But we want to bring people who will start thinking like legacy business owners and establishing businesses with the right mindset and how to pass on what they are doing even to other generations. If you want to secure a slot for that, the account details are already on the screen. You can copy it out, make payment, and then you send a message on WhatsApp, of course, to the admin of the Tribe Leaders community, and say, I've just secured the slot for 20,000 naira, and you know that you're paying maybe in 2 or 3 installments between now and the end of middle of September, to make sure that you cover up the fee, and then we are good to go. And this, I'm just making this offer of 100,000 to people who are here. Once I go on social media, I've not announced anything price outside. I wanted to make this first offer to those who will be in the webinar, and then from there we take it up. So if you want to be a part of that, you can quickly sign up. And of course, like I've said, I'm launching my book, The Culture Strategy. I thought about this book a few days ago. I've been brooding over it. I've been brooding and brooding and brooding and brooding over this book, and a lot of things have been opened up. And that's why if you hear my trainings recently, you hear me tilt more towards culture, because I'm looking for sustainable means of, solving corporate challenges. So I'm launching this book on the same day, on the 5th of October. And of course, those who are joining, who are paying to attend the conference, automatically have access to an autographed complimentary copy of my book, The Culture Strategy. It's part of those. But if you're not attending the conference, then of course you can pre-order the book for just 8,500 naira. When it launches, it becomes 10,000 naira. So these are some of the pictures from our previous conference, where of course Strive was launched. my book Small Team Big Result was launched, and a whole lot that happened. So I hope you've gotten so much value. Please do well to secure your slot for this exclusive conference. If you pay 20,000 naira between today and tomorrow, of course, all you have to pay is 80,000 spread across the remaining 3 months so that you can make it up. So let me know if there's any question, any feedback in the comments, and of course, we can take on the conversation in the WhatsApp community. Is there any question? Is there any question? All right. So if we don't have any question, it'll be okay for us to say we've had a good time together and it's been worth our time learning the things we've learned about culture and how to build or develop a growth culture in our business. So, and after that, if you have any questions, you can always send it to 090-141-01990, or you send to our email info.tribeleadershipconsult@gmail.com, and we'll be happy to respond to you. So thank you very much to everyone who joined in. Exciting, exciting. And I hope that I'm going to see you again. And I'm going to see you even in the Tribe Leaders Conference 2024. All right. So do have a very pleasant evening, and we'll talk again.